Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a technical founder, you've probably slammed headfirst into the exact wall we're breaking down today. You know the drill. You've survived the sleepless nights, you've battled the broken dependencies, and you finally did it. The code is done, the app is deployed, and the bugs are, well, mostly squashed. But then you refresh your dashboard, and there's this glaring, terrifying problem. Your customer base is literally absolute zero. Today, we're exploring a seriously fascinating solution to this exact challenge by diving into the Replit Growth Kit. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Replit's documentation on their Growth Kit hits you right away with this unavoidable mantra: you built the product, now build the business. And honestly, that just perfectly validates all the incredible hard work you've poured into your code base while kind of shoving you toward a completely different reality. For engineers, this is a massive mindset shift. Building a great product does not automatically equal building a great business. You can have the absolute cleanest, most efficient code in the world, but if nobody knows it exists, it just doesn't matter. There's just this huge, gaping divide between the absolute comfort zone of your IDE and the messy, chaotic reality of the actual market. On one side, we've got building the app. It's logical, right? It's deterministic. You write a function, it returns a value, boom. But building the business? Oh man, that means outbound sales, ideal customer profiles, paywalls, analytics, the whole shebang. For a lot of developers, this transition is genuinely anxiety-inducing. Honestly, go-to-market strategies can feel a bit like throwing darts in the dark, especially compared to writing clean, testable logic.
But hey, don't worry. We're going to compartmentalize this massive topic into a digestible map today. Here's our agenda. 1. The founder's dilemma. 2. Meet Replit growth skills. 3. Finding your first users. 4. Tracking and conversion. 5. Monetizing your app. And 6. From markdown to momentum.
All right, starting off with section 1, the founder's dilemma.
Replit actually nails this feeling with such an empathetic phrase. You did the hard part, now give the product a way to travel. It's basically acknowledging that, yes, engineering the application is a massive, incredibly difficult achievement. But without a distribution channel, your app is essentially stranded on a deserted island. The tools we're about to explore, they're designed to be the exact bridge that gives your product a way to travel off that island and straight into the hands of your very first users. Which brings us to our solution in section 2. Meet Replit growth skills. So, what actually is a growth skill? Well, it's brilliantly simple. It is literally just a markdown file with a specific point of view that the Replit agent runs against your app. Think of it kind of like an automated marketing intern that actually understands your code base. And this is crucial because it means you aren't forced to learn yet another complex external dashboard. Instead, it's an automated workflow that reads your existing project context, understands exactly what you've built, and executes a strategy based directly on that knowledge. And this brilliantly illustrates the landscape. The whole go-to-market partner ecosystem can be incredibly intimidating, right? But the Growth Kit structures it into 4 super clear pillars. For outbound sales and lead enrichment, you've got powerhouses like Apollo, ZoomInfo, and Clay stepping up. For consumer growth, SideShift comes in to assess virality and user-generated content. Then there's PostHog, the absolute industry standard for product analytics, taking over tracking your funnels. And finally, Stripe or Revenue Cat are there to handle monetization. Each of these tools perfectly plays a specific fractional role for your business, saving you from having to go out and hire a massive full-time team on day one.
Let's move right into section 3, finding your first users. So if you're running a business-to-business product, your outbound motion is powered by Apollo, ZoomInfo, and Clay. The Replit agent literally starts by inferring your business just from reading your README file and your code base. That is wild, right? From there, it derives an ideal customer profile, or ICP. Basically, it's figuring out exactly who is actually willing to pay for this thing. Then, it sizes the real market, enriches those leads, and even builds an inactive email sequence. That's just an automated chain of emails designed to gently win back those users who sign up and then totally ghost you. It does all the heavy lifting of figuring out who your buyer is and exactly how to reach them. But wait, what if you built a consumer app? Well, that's a completely different motion, and that one is powered by SideShift. Before you burn a single dollar on creators, the agent runs this brutally honest scorecard. First, it pressure tests whether your app can survive a 15-second silent demo. This is absolutely huge. If someone scrolling TikTok on mute cannot understand your app in 15 seconds, you are basically dead in the water. It checks real demand signals on TikTok and Reels, and even designs these high-fidelity viral screens on a digital canvas to see if the app has a genuinely shareable wow moment. Only if it passes that test does it help you create a launch kit and source creators.
All right, so once those first users actually land in your app, we move to section 4, tracking and conversion.
This is exactly where the post-hog skills steps in. The agent maps out your user's activation path, meaning their journey from the entry point to their very first meaningful outcome. It defines the event contract, which, if you're not familiar, is just a strict, clear agreement on exactly what user actions you're actually tracking in the database. Then, it seamlessly integrates the post-hog SDK right into your client entry point and builds out the activation funnel for you. In just a few automated steps, it totally transforms a completely untracked app into a highly measurable conversion machine. You can finally see exactly where people are dropping off.
And once you have data, you can actually act on it. Imagine you and your co-founder are just endlessly arguing over whether dropping a setup step or changing a button color will increase signups. Well, the post-hog onboarding experiment skill puts an end to that debate. You just form a falsifiable hypothesis, like, hey, dropping this setup step will increase signups by 10%, and the agent literally helps implement the feature flag in your code so you can run an A/B test. No more guessing. Now you're making decisions based on actual, real-world user data, not just some gut feeling you had in the Slack channel. Which leads us to the most exciting milestone for absolutely any founder out there. Section 5, monetizing your app. Because let's be real, getting paid is the absolute dream. It's the ultimate validation that your hard work actually solves a problem people care about. Now, when it's time to actually capture that revenue, the ecosystem basically splits into two distinct paths. If you have a web or SaaS application, you're going to use the Stripe skills for checkout, scaffolding, and webhooks. Simple enough. But if you have a mobile app focused on subscriptions, you'll use the Revenue Cat skills. And honestly, if you have ever tried to handle Apple App Store entitlements and receipt validation yourself, you know it is an absolute nightmare. Revenue Cat handles all of that, plus paywall audits, pricing tiers, and free trials. It just makes mobile monetization so incredibly smooth. But here is the really cool part. Before you launch, the agent acts as your skeptical auditor. Think about it for a second. There is literally nothing worse than going viral on Twitter, getting 10,000 visitors to your site, and suddenly realizing your checkout button is completely broken. The monetization-ready pre-flight check absolutely prevents this. It benchmarks your pricing against category norms. It walks through the entire checkout flow in test mode, from clicking buy to verifying that the webhook successfully fires so the payment provider correctly talks back to your app, right down to ensuring the user actually gets access. It ensures you never ever launch to a wave of traffic with a broken paywall.
Now let's move to our final section, from markdown to momentum.
Okay, so you might be sweating just a little bit right now, thinking, is this AI agent going to silently burn through thousands of dollars in API credits while I sleep, or accidentally spam my entire network? So the crucial point is that Replit designed this entire system with strict guardrails. The agent audits your code, it drafts the emails, it plans the campaigns, but you hold the keys. Absolutely no credits are spent and no emails are sent without your explicit permission. They use this really strict confirmation gate system. One approval never covers the next. First, you review a generated plan. Then, as a totally separate step, you confirm any API or credit-consuming actions. Finally, you explicitly authorize the ultimate right to your database or the activation of an email sequence. The bottom line, as the founder, you are always in total control at every single step of the workflow, which means you can iterate safely without the anxiety.
And the initiation process itself is just incredibly frictionless. It directly serves founders who just want to get straight to work. So how do you start today? Step 1, download a skill. And remember, that's just that smart markdown file. Because it's literally just markdown, there are no heavy SDKs to bloat your project at step 1. Step 2, add it as an attachment to your Replit project. And step 3, let the agent read it and run the motion against your codebase. Seriously, that is really it. We've seen exactly how to build a business after you've built the product, from assessing virality on TikTok to cold emailing leads, tracking funnels with precision, and even setting up totally bulletproof paywalls. Your first customers really are just one skill away, so I guess the only question left for you is, which motion are you going to run first? Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and hey, happy building!